Mr. Kipnis. As we all know, Safaricom is expanding through the continent. One of it is in Ethiopia and in other areas. Does the African Continental Free Trade Area benefit its endeavors to expand throughout the continent?
So the Africa Continental Free Trade Area agreement is important for our continent for purposes of enhancing intra-continental trade. The policymakers have come together to try and reduce the tariffs and the non-tariff barriers that have caused trade within Africa to be very insignificant compared to global trade. We have European, American, other country companies that are doing more trade with individual African countries than we are doing with one another. So for us as Safaricom, obviously this is our small contribution towards trying to enhance the Free Continental Trade Area Agreement. One of the bigger things that we can do as a technology company is to enhance digital trade. That's one of the aims of the AFCFTA. And so digital trade is one of the quickest ways we can get to grow trade in Africa, because it does not necessarily involve the physical movement of goods, even of people, because when you speak about digital trade, it's trade that can happen on a digital platform where people can come and access information, access services, pay for services, and even exchange goods. It's just the same way today. If I bought something on Amazon, I will go into the platform, I'll pay the money, and the book or whatever it is I bought is sent to me. But of course, for us as Safaricom, when you're running a technology company, that requires physical infrastructure. One of the challenges that we have in Africa is connectivity. We have a huge continent with most of our population still living in rural areas. So Safaricom coming into Ethiopia is part of us expanding, and it's our first change in terms of starting a new business outside of Kenya. So I think it's important for us as Safaricom to contribute towards growing connectivity. This is certainly within the Eastern Africa region, because Ethiopia is part of the broader East Africa. But if we can grow connectivity within the continent, then we're doing our bit to provide the networks on which digital trade can happen. So for Safaricom, our policymaker, so the Kenya government, was very supportive in helping to bring us into Ethiopia. And you recall that before our launch, our president came to join the Honorable Prime Minister for the official launch of Safaricom Ethiopia. Safaricom Ethiopia is growing quite a bit, and our local CEO, Mr. Anwar, can speak to that. But for us, growing connectivity on the continent, bringing MPESA into Ethiopia is one of the things we're looking forward to. But we have we have MPESA in many other African countries, and it's one of the platforms that we can use to grow digital trade within the context of financial services, access to financial services, providing digital inclusion, and really also growing diversity and inclusion. Because one of the things that MPESA has done for us in the East African region is to grow digital inclusion by including women-owned businesses, women who generally would be on the back end, but we have given a platform to women businesses to provide a way of them paying for services, for them of providing services that can be paid for digitally. So for us, MPESA is a very key tool towards enhancing digital inclusion.
So one of the points raised in the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is that trading can be done in local currencies. And how does that integrate with the MPESA platform? How does MPESA function? What kind of currencies does it use, and how does that help grow African currencies?
So, of course, when MPESA was first innovated in Kenya, so that the stored value that you're exchanging if you are in Kenya is in Kenya shillings, but you can use MPESA to trade across East Africa, in Kenya, in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Tanzania, and now we shall be introducing it here. So MPESA allows you to store electronic value that is backed by a currency that is obviously recognized by a central bank. If you're trading in MPESA, if you're buying goods locally in Ethiopia using MPESA after we launch obviously, then you're going to be trading in the local Ethiopian currency, the birr. And if you're going to buy goods in Kenya using MPESA Ethiopia, then you will have an exchange rate. So it's the same way that the AFCFTA is going to allow enhanced trade within local currency, so that it's not a barrier that I'm an Ethiopian, I cannot buy goods from Uganda because I don't have Ugandan currency. At the back end, there is going to be a foreign exchange component, so that if you are buying a book from a trader in Uganda, you will send an M-Pesa, but there will be an exchange rate that will happen at the ongoing central bank exchange rate. So basically, it saves you from having to go and buy local currency, buy that product in that local currency, and therefore, have to bear that inconvenience. So the exchange will happen on the back end. So it really enhances trade.
M-PESA will definitely be a game changer in that sort.
We are praying that it will be a game changer in Ethiopia as it has been in the wider East African community. We really hope and pray that even as we grow M-PESA into a continental platform, that it really will be the one thing that will help to enhance trade in Africa.
That's a very insightful thought you gave us. Thank you, Mr. Stephen Kiptonis.
Thank you very much.